and then I'll introduce the channel,
Sounds good.
introduce you, and then I'll try to hurry up and get the link to post it other places. So,
Great.
uh, there we are. Okay, we're live.
Okay.
Let's see. All right. So, hello everybody, and welcome to my channel. I'm Casey Oswald, and I got a little distracted from my background looking a little bit crooked these days. I don't know if it's my stand-up desk or my background, but I'm gonna have to fix that after this live
Yeah.
with Simone Kalika. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
Good, and loving that background behind you.
This is actually just my living room, and I decided that it's going to be my classroom. So this is actually just the artwork that I have hanging up. I am super minimalist, so like all I have is, I don't know if you can see it. No, probably not. I have just a board that sits
Mhm.
behind me,
Cute.
and it just says, "Welcome to VIPKid. My name is Teacher Simone." Naturally, I already had some flowers behind me, so I was just like, you know what? I like sitting here. I like looking at the background in the screen, so it's going to be my classroom. I
Yeah.
wasn't into the whole like letters, and I'd rather just look at my background.
Yeah. This is actually a bigger picture than in my classroom. The camera makes it a lot
Yeah.
longer.
Usually you can see everything behind me, but in Zoom it's a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, Simone, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself? And I'm going to put the links up because we are starting a little bit early, so we might not have anybody in the chat for
Yeah.
just a little bit. So,
Okay. So I live in Baltimore, Maryland. Prior to VIPKid, I was a preschool teacher for 4 to 5 years, and towards the end, it just wasn't for me anymore. Eventually I wanted one day to be able to stay home with children and just work from home or travel. And I was just scrolling through Facebook one day when I came across VIPKid as a sponsored ad. I had never heard about it before, and I was reading all of those comments underneath from other teachers, and I was just like, this sounds too good to be true. So I kept doing more research. I actually sat on it for a good 3 weeks before I saw somewhere where we were Forbes #1 remote job. And after I saw that, I was like, okay, the credibility is there.
mhm.
Let me see what's going on. So I applied. I was so nervous. It probably took me a month to like 6 weeks to get through the whole process, because I would just pause in between each step and like prepare, even though I never felt prepared. And I honestly thought I failed the first interview and I wouldn't get another chance. But
Oh,
here we are now. Now I've been with VIPKid for over 2 years. I am a fully booked teacher, and I work strictly short notice, making 26 an hour.
great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for the intro. I posted it in a couple of places.
Okay.
um, so you mentioned that preschool was for you for a little while, but then not not anymore. Did you get into a reason for that or just
Yeah, it was just we didn't get paid enough. It was I couldn't imagine, like at the end of the day, I couldn't imagine one day having children of my own, working in a preschool, and then coming home to my own. So once I started to feel like, I couldn't imagine giving them all the energy I could if I was just at the school giving the other kids all of my attention for 7 to 8 hours a day. Um, so I knew that I needed a change. I also
mhm,
wanted to supplement my income by at least 500 extra dollars a month, just for like play money or travel money, or if I just want something expensive to like not feel bad.
yeah.
And what started off as just wanting $500 a month ended in like one of my biggest months being like over $3,500. So
Wow.
when I saw that I was able to do that and teach preschool, I would like teach in the morning a little bit and then go to the preschool. And then eventually it just became something that I could rely on. So
Mhm,
I left corporate America and I just decided to do VIPKid more full time, not
mhm.
100% full time, and pursue other things that I'm more passionate about.
Great. Good. So You answered those. Are you tech savvy? And what tech do you use in your classroom?
Okay, so like yes and no. I'm tech savvy in the sense that like I can guide somebody over the phone on what to do without even looking at the screen in a sense. I used to teach from an iPad. Actually, this is a good story. When I first started, I didn't even have an iPad that worked. I mean, and a laptop that worked well. I actually had to go to my local library and I rented a laptop from my local library for a good month because I wasn't going to invest money into a laptop when I was just starting out, not knowing whether I was even going to get a paycheck, how much I was going to make or whatnot. So I rented it. I worked on it for about a month. You can rent it up to a week from the library before you
Okay.
have to like go in and have it checked in. You can
Yeah.
do that for up to 3 weeks. This is at least in Maryland. You can do it for at least 3 weeks before you have to like completely turn it in and get a new one. So that was really nice. After and then after that, I realized that you could teach from the iPad, and I had an older iPad, so I was like, let me
Mhm.
try, and I fell in love with it. The screen is just, it's so much nicer just to look at it as if you're doing FaceTime.
Yeah.
On the laptop, you see the whole classroom, right? You see the whole portal. And then like the little box where the PowerPoint is, I just felt like it was so small and confined into the laptop that the iPad screen, it just feels like I'm talking to a student. So I definitely
Ah.
prefer the iPad 100%. It's easy to travel with. Um,
Mhm.
it's light, and I have a stand for it. So like when I travel, I just like hook it up to any desk that I'm at, and it's just easy.
Great. My friend Cindy will love to hear that. She's the one that made the iPad group. So I'm sure she'll
Oh,
love to
I'm
hear
not
that
in
you
that one.
teach.
Yeah.
So, oh, online teacher dude is here. He said hi, Simone and Casey.
Hi.
Hey, Tim. Thanks for coming.
Hi,
And
Tim.
I see we have a couple more people that are watching. Please let us know who you are in the
Uh-huh.
chat and feel free to fire some questions at Simone in the chat, and
Yeah.
we'll get to those in just a little bit. Just so you know, when I look this way, that is my chat box on my iPad. So those watching, when I'm looking away, it's either at my notes or at my iPad. So,
Yeah.
okay, Simone, what does your VIP kid schedule look like?
That's a good question. Okay. Oh boy, it's messy. Okay, so I work 7 days a week.
Okay.
I just recently started to try the 4:30 a.m. slot. So
Mhm.
I will work from 4:30 a.m. If not 4:30, always 5. So between 4:30 or 5 a.m. until 8 o'clock is my last one. I typically, since the change happened in China, I very rarely get booked for those 8:30 a.m. Eastern
Yeah.
slots. Though it did hit the other week, but I can't rely on it. I can 100% rely on between 4 and 8 4 to 7:55. I can rely on that.
Yeah.
And then right now, since we're able to work nights, I've been doing like 4 or 5 classes at night.
Mhm.
My goal is at least like, I would say 10 to 12 classes a day.
That's my schedule too.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
actually
So
have the same schedule except mine's an hour back because I'm central.
yeah, that's even harder. You have to wake up even earlier. Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
Mhm.
And let us know in the chat if your schedules are kind of well, online teacher dude, your schedule is all funky. So let us
But I
know because
think Tim also lives in
he
a better
does.
time zone. So
Yes. So
that's
tell
nice.
us
Yeah.
what your schedule looks like, Tim.
Yeah.
um, what is a challenge as a VIP kid teacher that you've had to overcome?
Oh, that's a good one. A challenge would be, well, I guess it's no longer a challenge, but in the beginning, when I started referring,
Mhm.
I remember a challenge being people didn't believe it was true. And it was all about the way you would word it, where you have to sound like credible, you have to sound knowledgeable about the information,
Mhm.
you need to seem confident. And in the beginning, if there were questions that I didn't know how to answer or how to word it, I remember maybe I would put up a post and it would be like lots of interest. And then there'd be like that one person that would be like, that's a scam. Don't listen to what she's talking about. It's like, truthfully, like, I'm really just trying to help you guys, like, get a job, because I was in your place and like I understand. So I had to learn how to like navigate between those people, and now I would say I have a really good system in place for that.
Good. And how many people have you referred?
I need to check the numbers, but I know it's like over 80. Like, do you mean have passed or have referred?
Either way, just
I would say there's about like 400-500 people in my portal. I would
Mhm.
say of those people in the past 2 years, between 80 and 85 have been successful.
Great.
So yeah, yeah.
Good. What are your best tips for referring? See, I went to her meetup once, so I know some of these and started using some of these and had some great success.
Yeah. Okay. So my number one tip that I cannot stress enough is to be 100% authentic. 100%. When you have a thought come to your head and you're like, maybe I should post this, I'm hesitating, I feel a little bit insecure, what if whatever, just do it. Just do it and see what happens. Now, my other tip is, if you're just starting out with referring, what I noticed was I may put up a post and then I would have 50 messages in my inbox of I want more information, right? So then it's like it goes to your spam folder. You're not really sure who's getting the information. You're not sure who's checking it. There's no rapport being built. And after a couple months, I started to realize like I need a group of people to come to just find out information. I don't want you to jump. People want people to sign up and jump right in. They need to build the confidence to even do it. So what I suggest is the first thing you should do is make a Facebook page and make a Facebook group. Now, the group should be a closed group on Facebook. So for a closed group, I would then suggest having 3 security questions in your group, right? And what are those 3 security questions going to be?
Yeah, I got them wrong when you asked at the meetup, but I know now.
Yeah. What are they now?
Are you able to work in the US or Canada? Do you have 1 year
Except for
teaching?
California now, which is really important to
Ooh,
know. Yeah.
that's true. I do need
Yeah.
to add that.
Yeah.
Um, and then 1 year experience, whether it's volunteering, mentoring.
At least 1 year of experience. Yep. And it's really important to write there, because people will get stuck in the, oh, well, I'm not a teacher, I can't do
Right.
this. So right away, it's so important to, in parentheses, to write, you could be a coach, a mentor, babysitter, nanny, um, teacher, parent. A lot of parents, they don't give themselves enough credit. They think, well, I don't have a teaching degree, but I have 2 children. And it's like, and then right away my head goes to how old are your children? They'll be like 5 and 7. I'll be like, okay, cool, you have 7 years of experience. So people, I love to like shift that mindset, especially for parents who are, stay at home as well, who are working from the house, because this is a life-changing opportunity.
Mhm. I never thought of parenting.
Yeah,
Wow.
people don't think of that, and it's like crazy to me because I'm not a parent and I was a teacher. So like you're parenting them in the classroom all day long in a sense, right? And
Mhm.
it's like you guys, their parents are not giving themselves enough credit for what they're doing at home. It's all about reading the body language of a child and knowing when to slow down, when to keep going, when to
Mhm.
encourage, whatever. You learn that from your kids at home too. So it's,
True.
yeah. So really important for that. And then um, do you have a degree in any field? And a lot of
Right.
people, you have to make sure that you say in any field, because a lot of people think like, oh, you need a teaching degree, and you don't need a
Right.
teaching degree.
Good.
Yeah, so yeah, I would suggest a page. And now this is also coming from somebody who I didn't want to go the YouTube route, even though like I get it, it's the way to go. I should probably do it. I've been super okay with like it just being low key, and I enjoy people reach out to me at this point. I don't reach out to people. So in my
Mhm.
group, I went from starting a page and a Facebook group, and it was all just like a vision that I had. And I was like, I'm really passionate about this. I just want to do it. So even if all I'm doing, if I'm grabbing the attention of even one person, okay, great, I may change one person's life, and that's awesome. I have become so close with some of my referrals where I could be invited to their house. I've been
Mhm.
invited to a wedding before in the different country. I'm like, it's just so cool who you can meet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
great.
and then, within your group, what you can do is just start writing. You don't even have to post. Like you can be within a different thread, and somebody may say, I'm looking to work from home, or I need an extra whatever, or I want to travel. How are you guys doing this? And you just have to write your story in the thread, and within your story say, if you would like more information, this is my closed group where you can get a look into it, and then they click on your group, they join your group, and it just becomes your funnel. Now again, this is for people who don't want to go the YouTube route. I was not so comfortable being in front of the camera, which is kind of silly because I'm in the camera all the time. But this way, it was a way for me to kind of like have my own page where it's like my achievements, like I'm able to just brag openly about like my full schedule, where no one's going to criticize me or make me feel bad that I'm a fully booked teacher. And within this group, people just watch your journey, and if they relate to you and they're like, if she can do it, I can do it. And then I get people every day who are reaching out saying, to the point of like, not I want more information, they're at the point of saying, I'm ready to start. And that's where I want people. I want people ready to start. I'm not going to convince you. I don't care enough to convince you. Just watch my journey.
Right.
So, and inside the group, it's important to post things like your paychecks, like updates that are coming from VIPKid. When that whole California thing came in, I screenshot the whole thing, and I gave, I was fully transparent with what's going on, because it's a shame that that's happening, but it did. And people just want transparency, and you know what, they also want to hear the bad. So I won't just say this is this is the best job ever, blah blah blah. I will say, yeah, you're only given 6 cancellations per contract. That kind of sucks.
Right.
Now on top of that, yes, they could be marked soft or medium cancellations, and that means that you had a doctor's note or a valid excuse, but it's a process to go through, and it can be not fun. But my favorite thing about VIPKid is the flexible schedule. I open my schedule 24 hours in advance, so I get an extra bonus for doing that, and I have more flexibility in my schedule, which is just amazing.
Now, is it easy for you to be like, yeah, I don't feel like opening any, or are you
Yeah,
very much consistent and you?
No, it's very easy for me to be like, you know what? I want a Friday night off, not opening up my classes. And that's the best part, because when I first started, I was booking out 2 weeks out, right? So great, 2 weeks out. I'm so happy that my schedule is packed. And then week 1.5 in, my friends is like, oh, we're going here. Do you want to come with us? I'm like, oh man, like had I known that, I wouldn't have done that. So now that I'm at a point where I truly get to choose my own schedule. And again, this is not my sole income. So a lot of people watching may think, well, I need that money, I can't do that. And absolutely, but I work other jobs. I have 3 to 4 other types of income coming in. So to me, VIPKid is a big chunk of my pay, but it's not all of it. So anybody that is thinking of like applying or whatnot, I always say, do not do this if you are solely looking to rely on a paycheck. You have to do this along with something else, and then see how it goes, because you never know what could happen.
And you mean with short notice?
Not only short notice, just in general. Like I would never want when a referral comes to me and they're like, I'm gonna quit my job to do this, I'm like, pause. That's putting a lot of pressure on something that you don't know what's going to happen. I'm not saying it won't happen. I was able to do it. I left 7 months into doing this. I left corporate America 7 months in. So and I could have left earlier. I was just too scared to open short notice.
Let's see. Online Teacher Dude says, Simone is awesome. She needs to start a YouTube channel.
I know, and right? Tim, do it with me.
He said, I teach normally 3 to 6 Beijing time because he lives in Malaysia. And now I'm adding on the hours because I'm traveling a lot this month and need more money.
Yeah.
And, oh, Paula's here. Hello, Paula. Thanks for joining us. And he loves your advice on how to handle your groups, Simone. Great stuff.
Thanks.
Yes, when I went to her meetup, or Simone's meetup, she gave us groups we could use, and I was shocked because she, in a sense, was giving away some of her potential referrals, and I thought, wow, this is...
And you know what? There was a moment when I first started referring where it was like, keep these things to yourself. Like there were little voices inside of my head that were kind of like, maybe you shouldn't tell people secrets or whatnot, because it's all competition, right? But at the end of the day, no one is ever you, right? So it's like the energy that you bring, those are going to attract the referrals that are meant to be for you. So I'm all about telling people where to go find these referrals. Like there are groups like that hired online ESL group with reviews online. It is an amazing group, and Jody is the woman who runs it. I know Daniel Dito was the one that started it. And she runs it, and she is amazing. She turned that group around. It is so professional now, and every day there are people there looking for jobs. It's kind of like people are posting, I'm looking to do this. Who wants me? And you just have to tell your story. And the best thing you can do also is encourage the other. If you know teachers within these groups, encourage them if they think that you might be better with them or whatnot. People are going to go to the people that they relate to, that they want advice from, no matter what.
Right.
So there's no the competition. It's not competition because it's just about what you're doing.
Right. And we are so different. I mean,
Exactly.
I think my group is more all my teacher friends overseas, but I'm also an empty nester. So I have a whole different kind of group that kind of come talk to me than, say, my friends that are stay-at-home moms. They attract a whole nother group
Yes,
that they can share
absolutely.
their story with. So
Right.
yeah.
And I don't have children, so I can't even be a part of any of those like stay-at-home mom type groups, which eliminates my referral range a lot.
Yeah.
But the way that I talk about shifting the mindset of parents who don't even think they can do this because they're not teachers, that's who I'm attracting, because I'm shifting that mindset. So it just depends on like your own personal story too.
Right. And your teacher experience. I'm sure you can relate to other teachers. They can relate to
Yeah,
you.
definitely. Yeah.
Good. And I think Tim's got all the travelers over there.
Yeah, and he's very big on the male referrers, which is a great niche to have actually, because why
Yeah.
would males not want to go and listen to another male?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If shout out to Tim and his YouTube channel because
Yeah.
he's got some great stuff on there. So, okay, wow. How do you handle tough kiddos or distracted kiddos in your classroom?
That's a good question. And I don't know if I'm just really, really lucky or my tags are really, really good. But I can tell you that 95% of my students are just like amazing. And I I will not put up with anything. If
Mhm.
I don't like something that's going on, my camera's going off. I will call the fireman. Class will not continue. I'm very strict in my classroom. And that might be why I am attracting certain people, though. I am not sure, but I will not tolerate any disrespect. I will not tolerate if they are putting something in the camera. I cannot stand it. If the camera is moving around because they're walking around, it's making me nauseous. I just can't. I will wait for them to sit down quietly. I don't like when children are just laying on the bed, they're not paying attention. I will sit there and wait for them to sit back up. I don't care if you're going to miss 5 minutes of class because you're going to waste my time. I will waste yours as well. This is not funny to me. I
Yeah.
do take it seriously. I think they're paying a lot of money for this. Sure, there are some people who it's just extracurricular, but then there are some families who I communicate on a daily basis with through WeChat who they they thrive off of all of that seriousness,
Right.
and they keep priority booking. I know I said I work short notice, but I do allow about 4 to 5 regular students on my schedule, one for feedback that's consistent. I always maintain the 25%, at least that, to get the raise, because I am short notice, so I want to make sure. And these kids that are regulars, I've been with them for almost 2 years,
Aw.
so it's like really amazing to watch their growth and the little like inside jokes that we have now. Parents are
Yeah.
like inviting me to stay at one of their houses in China and like sending me chocolates for New Year's.
Aw.
It's like it's amazing.
That's great.
So yeah, I can't say that I have many students who are they're really, really good. And also another thing, working short notice, I am a heavy, heavy trial class teacher. So those children are nervous to begin with. They're kind of like, they're
Yeah.
timid and whatnot. So they're not acting out yet.
Mhm. We just did a whole collaboration on trial lessons. I have I had tons because I've been
Yeah,
opening short notice in the evening, so great.
yeah. Short notice is great.
All right, we still have some people in the chat. Please ask some questions. We're almost getting to a little fire round for Simone. So think of a question for her. She has referred about 80 to 85 people. If you have questions for her for that, she does short notice. I'm sure there's questions you have
Yeah,
for
it's
her for
always
short notice.
the short notice is always a question. Trial conversions are usually a
Trials.
question, but I'm much better with like specific questions or your own like problems that you're having. I like to
Yeah.
like problem solve.
So ask her a question, come up with something. Okay, you've already talked about YouTube. Do you have a favorite teaching moment or funny story?
Yeah, one of my favorites was when one of my regulars, she was she was 4 years old when she started. She was a trial class for me. I converted her, and then I had her for a very long time. Within 3 months, she was speaking and reading fluently, and I was her only teacher, so that was really cool to watch. And I guess the one day where in English she could say, "I'm so happy to see you," was like the best day ever. That was amazing. My other moments are more so in WeChat when the parents are sending me like voice memos of what the students are saying to me, or they're sending me videos of them saying like, "Hi, teacher Simone," and like whatever, and connecting with me like
Aw.
that. Those are my favorite moments. WeChat. That's another thing people aren't doing enough of. The rapport that you're going to build with some of these parents is going to be amazing. Like WeChat, WeChat, WeChat.
So I have a question about WeChat. I guess I
Mhm.
could wait till the fire round, but that's okay. Um, do you post yourself in stories? I have a WeChat. I only have 3 parents on there, but I don't post anything. Uh,
Yeah, so I rarely post, but I do post sometimes. Like sometimes I went, like I did a shoot and I had like
Mhm.
professional pictures, and I posted that and just, maybe said like a little blurb about what I did or something. And the parents just they like to look at your life too. They want to learn about
Yeah.
the life in America, what you're doing, what it looks like, what your scenery looks like everything like that. So I don't post often at all, but I will tell you this one time I was very I was becoming very not upset. I don't know what the word is, but my regulars, they're so consistently like priority booking me and it's so consistent. They weren't leaving feedback anymore. And because it just becomes tedious, I understand. And I had posted a very long message in WeChat with a picture and just pretty much talking to all the families at one time and
Yeah.
saying, if you are a regular student of mine, please make sure to go back and leave Apple feedback, or else you are welcome to book me short notice, but I will not be able to open up my priority bookings for you anymore. And I can tell you, actually, there was a bit of controversy about that um, in a group where people didn't feel like it was okay to push that on them. But the best part is that this is my business. So
Right?
if you are not supporting me as a teacher and leaving me Apple feedback, which determines my raise and whatever else, I'm not okay with you're not a regular student to me. That's not the support that I'm going to have. So WeChat is another place where I use it as a way to be stern and set the expectation of like, again, this is my classroom and this is how it's going to run.
Mhm.
And I can tell you the next day I had 43 feedbacks.
So it
So
was a
it worked.
controversy not on WeChat with the parents, but other
the
teachers.
the controversy was between some people who felt like it was not classy to do that, and I'm
Right.
perfectly okay with that.
Yeah.
Perfectly okay with that because they messaged me privately after that and said, "Oh, we love you as a teacher. We don't want to lose you. No problem. I'm going to go do that right now."
Right.
You just have to be honest. Like this is not starting off. Yes, you don't want to lose clients. You want to build your book, but when you get to a point where like your schedule is full, you want to
Mhm.
maintain the parents who are supporting you as well,
Yeah. And
because they are the ones that are going to help you. Like, you know, what I remember this one time, like a teacher's schedule got closed off for a week, and they would like ask their regular parents on WeChat, like, "Can you see if my classes are open?" And they would send a screenshot and be like, "No, they're not open." It's like these people are going to help you. Use them to help you too. Like
yeah.
work together. That's the only way this all works. If we all work together.
Right. And the ones that are supporting you do deserve to have a priority booking if they are. I
Exactly.
mean,
And it's like, other than that, you are more than welcome to book me short notice because I will get my bonus if I'm not going to get my feedback.
true.
Yeah.
Great. See, that is one thing I have loved about you or admired. From the moment I met you, you're honest, to the point. You kind of just tell it like it is. And I think I told you even when we were in the car that day, like, it is
Yeah.
so nice not to have to guess what somebody thinks because you're going to tell me.
Oh, yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
half the
yeah.
time I'm like, "Oh, everybody's happy, everything's
Mm,
good," but if you don't tell
yeah,
me, I don't notice. So
right.
so I love it that you're straight to the point.
Thank
All
you.
right. Any questions in the chat? Oh, hey, Evelyn Joy is here. Great. Everyone's pretty much saying hi right now in the chat.
Hi. Hi, hi, hi. Yeah,
This is
if you have any
Simone,
questions.
if you haven't met her yet. Um, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep going with the questions then,
Yeah.
and then, please ask away. Let's
Another
see.
thing I want to just mention real quick is
Please.
people are so shy to ask questions. Like it could be anything. It could be what's in your profile, what kind of pictures are you using? Like don't be shy to ask questions that you think that should just be, especially if you're new. Like the more you ask questions, even if you think they're silly, like you're gonna get an answer from somebody who like sees what you're trying to ask and they're gonna help you. So don't hesitate to ask questions. Don't hesitate to ask questions in groups where people are going to bully you. Just do it because someone's going to answer you. They're going
Yeah.
to answer you. And I remember when starting out, sorry, I don't mean to go on the whole bullying thing, but like some of these groups are just something else. Like I had to like hide the groups because
Yeah.
it's just not that's not the energy that I want on my Facebook as I'm scrolling, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I don't even know where I was going with this, but keep going.
Well, yeah, you're right about some of those groups. I've had one experience with that and haven't posted much in groups since then.
Yeah.
So what are some qualities of a good teacher? What do you feel makes a good teacher?
Okay, qualities of a good teacher. Let's see. One, very basic, is be consistent in your schedule. Open up the same days, the same time, so that these parents are like, okay, this may be somebody that I want to be a regular teacher. If they
Yeah.
see it's just one here, one there, you don't know if you really want to do that. So that's number one as a good teacher. There are so many ways you can be a good teacher, but I try more often than not to get ready for class. I will try to make my hair look a little bit better. I will put some makeup on. To me, that's kind of important. Some people are like, I'm not waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning and getting ready. And I understand, but this is just my practice. I think that I treat this as any other job that I'd be going to. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it is very early in the morning, but then I wake up half an hour earlier so that I can wake up a little bit better. I
Yeah.
think it's important. It's great when you look good on camera too, because that's the content that you're going to use. If you like block out the kid's face, can be content that you use to refer as well. And you want to, look presentable and whatnot. I do
True.
not wear orange, so don't think that you need to wear orange. You
Right.
don't. It's recommended because it's like spirit, and so sometimes I like to put on orange just to be in that team spirit, but
Mhm.
most of the time I honestly would rather dress a little bit more professional. I have gotten feedback from parents that said very professional, so I would
Mhm.
assume that they like that, and I would say that would make a good teacher as well. In the beginning, I will always introduce myself and I will make sure they shake my hand and I will say nice to meet you, and I will teach them nice to meet you too. Always. I will teach them thank you. If we play a game at the end and I'm playing like tic tac toe is one of those games where there's actually a lot of learning that can go on. You make the tic tac toe board. You ask them, are you going to be X?
Oop. I
I have
There you are.
somebody, a referral of mine just called actually.
Oh.
Um, yeah, I was getting a call from a referral. So, sorry, I'm like sidetracked now. Oh,
You're talking about
sorry,
talking
sorry,
about tic-tac-toe
sorry,
and
sorry.
actually using it
Yeah,
for
tic tac toe. So if you can start with the whole X and O thing, and then every single time it's somebody else's turn, like let's say I put the X, and I'll say like your turn, Amy, and then they'll do it, and then I'll wait for them to say your turn, teacher, so that the
Yeah.
communication is still going. Sometimes people think don't play games because you don't want the parents to think you're not teaching. There's a lot of teaching that's going on there, even if it's just manners.
Yeah.
And at the end I always make sure to say, whoever wins, like good game, we shake hands, we say good game, because sportsmanship is important too. They don't need to just learn the content, they need to learn how to be a good person, a good friend, whatnot.
Mhm.
So I think that parents pick up on that as well. So
Okay.
that is something I would do. Another thing is correct. I like, sometimes parents will constantly say corrects well, and it's like, do teachers not correct well? Because like this is the whole job.
Right.
um and I will correct as soon as the mistake happens. So I'm not a teacher that lets them read the whole thing and then goes back. Sometimes I
Mhm.
do, but sometimes I like to do it right away as well. A good teacher would also have a an inviting background.
Mhm.
And honestly, I'm not even going to say anything about props because I don't use props at all. Like maybe sometimes like I have a banana right here. The props I will always go to are flashcards. There's so much like pictures, sentences, words. This kills a good 5 to 7 minutes and elicits so much free talk. So those are my go-to props. I do not think that anybody needs to be a heavy prop user at all. Sometimes it's distracting. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, let me go show you this," and they go to their room and they're gone for 5 minutes, and that ruined that class because we're not learning enough. So yeah, I would and to be helpful, to be a good teacher, like you need to be helpful. If you see somebody asking a question and you know the answer to it, just say the answer. Like it helps more people than you know. People are behind the scenes just reading things, and they don't always ask, but they want to read, and just be helpful.
Good. So you made me think of another question. Do
Mhm.
you have the trial rebooking set so that
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. Because more so, if I didn't, I would have a lot of no shows. But if I
right.
do, at least I can make that extra money, the short notice booking, and a
Mhm.
trial conversion. So to me, the sometimes I will. Sometimes I pray for a trial no show because
Right.
I just need a break. But
Right.
oftentimes than not, I want to teach it. I do
Yeah.
want to teach it. Yeah.
So how are you prepared for whichever trial comes your way?
I wing everything.
Yeah.
I've been winging everything from probably my 5th class in. In the very
Mhm.
beginning, I used to like read all the PowerPoints and memorize it and get a prop for each different one. And then I was just like, feels like it's being more work than it needs to be.
Right.
So I just started winging it, and I realized that like you never can expect what level the child is going to be on.
Mhm.
So like even if you knew the whole entire PowerPoint, that child might be 5 levels too high, and then you have to like relearn to teach it anyway. So based on their performance. So I like to, in the first 30 seconds, I can evaluate the child. I know whether
Mhm.
they are on the right level just by the questions of what is your name, how old are you, and where do you live. If
Yeah.
they can't even answer me, oh, I know where they are. If they say Amy, I know, okay, they're not doing full sentences. We're going to have to work a little bit more. If they're doing, my name is Amy, I am 7 years old, I live in China, I can't wait to have class with you. Like, awesome.
Right.
But it does, in the first 30 seconds to a minute, that is where you should be evaluating where the child is at. So you know how much energy you need to give for the class, what
Mhm.
that child's behavior, personality is like. Sometimes they need more high energy. Sometimes they need you to be like super calm, and you have to know how to read the child.
Right. I usually get some busy students, I think because energy and patient is on my tags. So
Yeah,
I
I could
I
see
get the ones that run around a lot.
you do have super great high energy. I purposefully, because I can do 8 to 10 classes in a row, and if there are a lot of trials, it's a lot of energy. So I purposefully try to be a super low key serious teacher. I
Mhm.
like to just sit back and just talk. Like I don't want to put on a show. I don't have puppets. I have a dino. I'll bring him out sometimes. If I have a child that's upset, I'll bring out a little monkey, but I just like to talk.
Right. I find actually that I'm enjoying talking in the older ones more than I expected.
Yeah.
So, wing it. Um, let's see. VIPKid teacher. Oh, I'm not gonna be able to say her name without messing it up. Pranithia? I'm sorry if
Uh-huh.
I didn't say it right. She said wing it with all exclamation points.
Yeah.
Laura wants to know, what does she use for rewards?
I don't use rewards.
So
I know.
you use the
I'm
stars?
one of those teachers where you're going to be like, "Oh my god, you don't do this and you don't do that." I don't use rewards. I can't stand it. I cannot. I will give stars. What am
Mhm.
I getting a reward for? Like, it's not what am I
For
giving a reward for? It's like trial classes. I have a lot of trial classes, and I just have a good system that's going. I think my highest month, I know yours is like insane. I think my highest month once was like 16 and yours was like 20 something. So that's amazing. But I just don't even think, honestly, also with some of my regular students, how many rewards can I come up with? Like, seriously, over 2 years, how many rewards can I come up with? Like, they don't. We have other inside jokes. You have to get to know the children, get to know what they like, and
Mhm.
then you'll start to want to reward them in other ways that are fun and whatever. But this whole like the way people reward people in the interview and the mock classes, it just feels fake. Not
Right.
maybe not fake. It just feels like you're overdoing it in a sense.
Mhm.
So I'm not
So
about rewarding unless they need it. If they need it and I can't get them to sit still or whatever, maybe. But I honestly, in 2 years, I could say I've probably had a reward 15 times.
Yeah. So, I mean, verbal praise is your reward.
Yes, yes, good job, high five, all of
Right?
that. I'm super, like, I want to motivate them, definitely, but physically, no.
Right. And let's see. Yes, evaluate, evaluate, evaluate.
Yes.
And oh, thank you, Laura. She said this is very helpful.
Oh, good.
Good. Let's see. What is your favorite teaching resource, professional development, or book? Something you would use and recommend?
Other teachers,
Oh yeah.
100%. I like to talk with I seem to attract a very like-minded set of people as my referrals, which makes sense because they're connecting to what I'm writing, which is great. And I have two groups. I have my referral group, and then I have a closed private teacher group of only referrals that have either trained with me or worked extensively with me communicating.
Hmm.
And within that group, I will check in on them. I want to hear what's going on. I like to hear about their stories, what's working for them, what's not working for them. But honestly, I don't love the workshops from VIPKid themselves, because I remember one time I was watching something and I'm just like, I could teach this class. So it's like I wasn't getting what I needed out of it.
Hmm.
So I just like to go by my own experience. I've been working with children since I was like 13 years old, and it just comes really naturally to me. So I wouldn't say that there's resources I go to. I just naturally pick it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. And learning from other teachers is powerful too.
Yeah, I love
We
that.
do steal ideas. We're great thieves, stealing
Yeah.
ideas and borrowing
Yeah, definitely.
information. So let's see. Any more questions coming in from the chat? We have about, I don't know, another
5
couple minutes. We'll
minutes.
give them in the chat.
Yeah.
And anything you want to add that I haven't thought about? I'm trying to remember.
Hmm.
I think I didn't.
I would just say that if people are watching this on YouTube and you're thinking of applying, it's definitely worth it. There's a new pay structure that, like, I have not delved into it enough to understand it, to explain it to somebody else.
Right.
Um, I think the chart is way stimulating and it's too much and it's overwhelming and I can't even look at it anymore. But I would just say that there is a learning curve, and it is 100% worth it to try.
Yeah.
Even if if you want to make just $200 or $300, or if you want to make $3, $4, $5, $6, $7,000. I have seen a teacher make $7,000 before. Yeah, they're working a lot, but
Yeah.
it's all possible, and it opens up so many doors.
Right.
You could travel, stay home with your children. So much, so much. It's worth it. It's amazing.
Great. I
Yeah.
love it. Oh, feedback. Laura, I even wrote down to ask her about feedback.
Feedback. Yeah.
Thank you.
So feedback, that's a great one. I keep this super short, to the point all the time. I have a template that I use for child classes that I tweak names. I tweak a little bit about, like, whether we're learning about family, animals, traveling. There's like
Uh-huh.
three or four trials that we're always doing. So I'll tweak it just a few sentences. One phrase that I always use that you guys should use is, at the end, say, please leave me Apple feedback so I know that you received this message. It's keeping it super, you're keeping it open for them to do whatever they want with that information, but you're kind of just saying, I would appreciate Apple feedback in a sense.
I'm writing it down.
Yep. Again, it is, please leave Apple feedback so I
Uh-huh.
know that you have received this message. And I always maintain above 25% or above by writing that, which is, as anybody who does trials so heavily and short notice, you would know it's hard to maintain Apple feedback that way.
Yeah, I was down to 3%.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah.
Not good. Do you leave messages for the LP? Feedback for the LP?
It depends. I can tell you that there was this one week where my schedule was super off. My bookings, my short notice wasn't hitting as well as they always are. And I thought of two things. Either my LP is maybe gone and our sales team is like, my person is gone. I don't know
Mhm.
how it all works, but I understand that there's a sales team and people that can book you as well. But what was the question again?
Do you leave feedback for the LP?
Oh, so it will depend. When I see that my schedule is like something is iffy, I will start leaving a lot of feedback for LPs to read because I want someone else to pick up on me.
Right.
And otherwise, I only do it if there's an issue, like a student is on the wrong level or extremely struggling, or I need the parent to sit there or something. If I need to give them a message, I will. Otherwise, I don't. If I was having trouble with bookings, I would. That's my advice. If you are not happy with your bookings, do it. But for me, because I'm happy with it, why change what's working? I know they say you're supposed to because it gives the learning partners something to talk about with the parents when they call.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just think it's important to watch the class too and then talk about it.
Yeah. We did talk about that in our collaboration the other day, whether talking to the LP, thanking them in the feedback might help us get more
and you never know.
lessons.
Like we never know, right?
Right.
So that's always just one thought that goes out there, but we never know what's really true or what would happen. So it's up to you. If you want to and you have the time, I honestly, I cannot stand feedback. There was this one week where, I kid you not, I willingly almost let feedback just expire because I couldn't do it. And it was horrible. I was not happy that week. And I was just like, I need to stop. I needed to stop teaching for a little bit, to take a break. That's another thing. I'm going to end on that note. I cannot stress how important it is. Make sure you take a day off, a night off, a weekend off, whether you're going to lose $100, $200, $300. The amount of sanity that happens when you don't get enough sleep, you are going to burn out. It is going to reflect in your feedback. It is going to reflect in your teaching. It is worth it to maybe teach 3 extra classes one night and then take the next morning off. Something, it's worth it for your own peace of mind, for clarity, and to give your all to the classes. I always know when it's time. I will tell my referrals, like, I will even remind them, do not forget to take a day off. And then people will message me and be like, I needed that. You almost need somebody to give you permission to take off because this job is so much fun that you want to keep doing. And you're like, if I take off, I'm going to lose $50 or $100. But it's like, you need to. It's really important.
And sometimes opening slots, we were talking about this, is kind of addicting. It's like, ooh,
it's so addicting. Is
it
going to hit? Is it not going to hit?
One more.
Yeah, exactly. Like, can I go one more? It's just 25 minutes. 25 minutes. That's it. No, like sometimes you just need a break.
Great. Well, awesome stuff. And Laura says, thank you when you talked about the feedback. So
definitely. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Simone. And thank you everybody in the chat. So
it was good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. And we'll have to meet up again soon.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Simone. Goodbye.
Absolutely. Bye.
Bye, everybody.